Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nothing Media. We're here with Naho for Unconditional Love is All There Is. Welcome, Naho.
Hello, everybody.
Naho's going to do an introduction first. And the way that this goes is if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. And if you want to type your question, you can also do that via YouTube or Facebook. And go ahead now and make your introduction.
Okay. Um, and this apparent suggestion is very simple and it's very obvious. Just what is a suggestion here is there is only what it is, what is happening. And apparent this what is happening is completely empty and it has no meaning and it doesn't suggest anything. It's simply as it is. And whatever is happening, it's not somebody's action. Even this word, this sound is happening. It's on its own. It's simply happening. Everything is appearing like that. And it has no meaning, no purpose. It's not happening to something. It's not suggesting anything. And this is already complete. It's just what is happening seemingly is already completion and it's already freedom. But it's completely empty and nothing is happening. And this complete emptiness and nothingness is everything, all there is. And that is what's being longed for from nobody, because there is only that. So there isn't anything that be suggested or anything can be attained or anything can welcome, because there isn't anything. Just what is happening. Even that apparent happening isn't happening, just appearing. Just that. And this is already complete. It can't be anything else. Whatever that is happening can't be any other way. And that doesn't need anything. And what is happening can't be found because there is only that. So in what is happening, nothing is attached. It's simply as it is, simply what is. And that is enough. Just that. But that in apparent what is happening, apparent me appears. And as soon as me appears, me feels not enough. So me is always looking for something to fulfill. But that need is never end, because as soon as me appears, me is always looking for something to fulfill. But need never end, because as soon as me appears, me is always looking for something to fulfill.
Go ahead. if everybody can mute yourself, because what's happening is the it's echoing. But go ahead now. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That happened. It's perfect.
Everybody can.
So in the end, nothing really matters because it doesn't mean anything. It's simply sound is appearing. It's just appearing. And it's the completion, it's the freedom. So this sound is happening, but from nobody to nobody. There isn't anything hearing this. Just hearing is appearing, if that is happening. So, but apparent me feels I am somebody, I am living, and I need more. So energy of more, that reality is almost like there is not something more. That impression is so real. There is something more. But there isn't anything more than this. But since me can't be satisfied, me is looking for something else than this. So creates own reality. There is something more to find. There is something can attain. So that energy, that reality never ends. By getting something, by achieving something, by attaining something. And that me never find what me longs for, because what me longs for is end of all longing, end of needing more. But me can't stop that. But what's being said here is actually it's not happening. Said here is actually it's not happening. It's only impression that me feels I am somebody, I am doing, I am seeking, I need more. Is only impression, that sound, the speaking, hearing, sensation, everything is simply happening effortlessly and for nobody. That is naturally constantly happening. But as soon as me feels I am somebody, it gives the impression that I am speaking, I am hearing this, I am sensing this. That becomes reality. And that needing more becomes reality. But that is not really happening. There isn't anybody. There isn't any entity. It's only nothing is appearing as everything. And that is all there is. So in the end, it really nothing matters, because that me feels I need more, I need to find, and of me isn't really happening, isn't real. So in the end, nobody's there to care about it. Maybe apparent caring appears, but it doesn't belong to anything. It doesn't belong to anyone, just simply appearing. Whatever is happening, whatever is apparently happening, it doesn't mean anything. And it's not solid thing. And it's not separate. It's simply one appearance. So this sound is not speaking to somebody, but something might resonate. But this doesn't go anywhere. It's already. It's already as it is.
Thank you, Naho. That was so beautiful. So beautiful and clear. Um, I have a couple of questions here. First from Tammy. Tammy goes, nice to see you again. Thanks for this time.
Hi, Tammy.
And then here's from Katla Giononi. So there is absolutely no difference between a murderer and a saint. Justice does not exist. Is it so?
Yes, it doesn't have any difference, even doesn't exist. It's only appearance. And then only to the me, it's real. It's not real entity. There isn't any entity. There isn't anybody. It's only appearance. And it only matters to the me.
Thank you. There's a question here from YouTube. Um, the pain that is appearing seems so painful and unbearable. Is this just pain? Just this? How is that freedom? I'm not being sarcastic. I truly want to accept this. And pain as in physical pain.
So pain itself is a freedom. Pain is freely appearing for nobody. But me feels it's my pain. That is a strong impression that me has. But actually the pain is not happening to somebody. It's only pain. Pain is pain. It's just as simply as it is. Nothing more than that. You can't do anything about it because there isn't anybody.
Beautifully said. I have a couple more questions here from YouTube. Um, Weemy goes, it's empty. Empty of what?
Actually, what is happening, isn't something, isn't material, isn't a solid thing. It's apparently something and not nothing at the same time. So there isn't anything. It's empty.
Beautiful. This one is from Lolo in La Queque Chavez. Grand rising, beautiful pieces of my soul, stars, hearts, and kisses. um, and then Weeby goes, do you know Andreas Mueller?
I don't know. I never speak to him, but I saw on YouTube. I saw him on YouTube.
Michael asks, when you say in the end there was no me, what do you mean by end? When is there an end? When was the beginning? Beginning and end seems to suggest there is a place to begin and one to end.
Actually, me doesn't exist from the beginning. No beginning, no end. Actually, it's already doesn't exist. So I don't know. The words just came out, but it really just by mean that it's just nobody cares about it. There is nobody there to care about anything. It's just the impression. That impression is so real to me, but it's not happening.
Beautifully said, Naho. If anyone has any question, you can also ask your question in person, and Naho will answer your question. You can choose to raise your hand. There's a raise your hand button at the bottom, or you can simply just message me to if you want to ask a question. Here's a couple more questions for this one is from Ben. Ben goes, was there an apparent falling away for Naho? Did the open secret influence anything?
Actually, in the story of Naho, Naho went to see Tony's and listened to the message, and suddenly Naho disappeared. And in the end, I mean, like that energy of seeking disappeared, sense of self disappeared. But that is a story. Actually, there isn't. There isn't a self. That is story. Never was somebody. That Naho is a story. But that story is energetic story. It feels so it feels so real to the dream. But actually that it's real only in the dream. Only feels real to the apparent me, which isn't really happening. So nothing influence anything. That what's being said never happened, because what is happening is this sound, and that's all there is. And this sound, there is not Naho is speaking. It's just happening. That is the constantly all there is.
Brilliant. This one is from McAdmin. He goes, we watched your YouTube since 2008. Thank you so much for everything. We tell to everybody that the goddess of the universe is among us in the divine form of the absolute emptiness, Eric and Lore. This one is for why me. Liberation happens?
Reverberation doesn't happen. So reverberation is in the story, never happens. Reverberation doesn't exist. Reverberation implies that me was real. So it's in the story, reverberation story. It never happens. There is only this sound. There is only what is happening.
Beautiful. Kane goes, are you coming to the UK after COVID?
Maybe, yes.
This one is from Adrian. Adrian goes, how do you call the ultimate subject, whatever it is, that is hearing this question there now? Thank you, beautiful. Nice to see you again.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I'll repeat. Sorry. How do you call the ultimate subject?
Ultimate subject.
That is hearing this question there now.
Oh, ultimate subject is somebody?
Basically, whatever it is.
Oh, okay. Whatever it is everything. But can't be found. It's independently. It's on its own. It's completely as it is, and it doesn't need anything. It doesn't need to be known. It's unknown. But there is only that.
Bam. This is from Perini. Perini asks, what's the place for the practice of awareness? And is this not even that? I'll repeat.
Yes, I understood. Awareness implies somebody needs to aware, and awareness is already some idea, some meaning. It doesn't need awareness. It's just what is happening. So what is happening doesn't suggest awareness. It's nothing is needed. That awareness doesn't need. It just how can I say, in the story, the me hears awareness so much, and me gets the impression that me is aware. But that is only happening in the dream, and me needs to aware to know itself, and me needs aware to know something what is happening to protect itself. But that whole thing is only impression. It's not happening.
Awesome. This one is from Zoe. Zoe goes, what's the difference between dream and reality? How can you differentiate between the two?
Actually, reality, it doesn't really, there isn't any reality. It's only what is, but that what is nothing. So in this meaning, there isn't any reality as such. But when I say dream, is not happening. So me isn't, how can I say, doesn't exist. It's not like how can I say, it's existing in a way, but it really doesn't exist. Only impression. So that's why it's dream.
Beautiful. This one is from Scott. Scott asks, Scott Lopez, the body is the one thing, in inverted parentheses, the body is the one thing that is in the present now. From a non-duality openness perspective, what is the best way to experience martial arts, yoga, sex, and other physical activities?
So that if that is, that's the desire, maybe me wants to experience that. But actually that is happening in the dream. Nobody ever experienced none of it. Nobody ever experienced anything. It just what I said. It's like an impression that is experiencing, and in me feels that impression is real reality, and then that becomes bigger and bigger, and then needs more experience. But how much that me has so much experience never satisfied it, because what me longs for is end of more, end of need. So that what me want is not experience. It's opposite. It's end of wanting experience.
This one is from Scott Tully. Hello, with a smiley face with hearts. Isn't this just a return to our initial childlike innocence when we let our light shine and didn't let others teach us a lesson?
um, it's like an expression. It's like a analogy. It's not really somebody becomes something else or going back to something that is already implies somebody exists. It's not even that reason why that people speak about childlikeness, because child doesn't care anything. There isn't anybody that's caring about that action, so it implies there isn't anything. It's just appearance. Child is appearing as a child, so that's the point. So this suggestion isn't going back to something, or isn't to become something else. It doesn't, because that apparent person doesn't exist. So point is that that apparent entity, it feels somebody isn't anymore. It means that there isn't nothing to going back to. There is only everything.
Thank you, Naho. Chus goes, hi, this is the community of Naho, the radio and blog for Japanese speakers. Thank you. So they just wanted to say hi from Chus. This one is, go ahead. This one is from Why Me. Everything is empty, Holland doesn't happen. Is that an impersonal impression?
Um, so actually, that personal impression isn't really happening. Only me feels it's real, but it's not really happening. Impression means it's not really happening. But then um, so that impression becomes, if it feels real only to me, but it's not happening. Just what is happening. That what is happening is not attached to anything. It's not happening to something. It's kind of not needing anything.
Brilliant. Thank you. This is from Roy Wilkinson. Hi, lovely girl. I understand that all there is this, but does this include the actual happenings on the TV? Thank you.
So apparent TV is appearing, but ultimately that is not really suggesting anything. But that usually in what is happening in the TV and while me is watching, it means hearing what is happening in the story. So what is suggesting. So what is happening in the TV, what it's suggesting is in the dream. So how can I say? Because usually what is happening in a story in the TV is apparent me's reality. Lots of me is speaking about own reality, so that it's a story, but that is not happening. That is dream.
Brilliant. Thank you. This one is from Katya. Since everything is just happening to nobody and there is no way to go to, anyway, the me feels a struggle to go back home. I can understand that there is no short way because there's no final destination, but there can be something, anything that can help in the, but there can be something, anything that can help in the realization.
Um, so so in the so first of all, there isn't any realization, and there isn't anything can be found. So what's been longed for is already apparently is. So nothing more than what is. So this is me's constant idea, something more, there is something more. But that isn't real. There isn't something more. And also the reason why the idea appears, because me feels I am something. I am somebody real. I am somebody needs more, is real. But that whole thing isn't real.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, this one from Martha. Am I already dead?
So you're not dead. You're not there. There isn't you.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you. Now, Avi goes, no one here. It is so inexplicable.
Yes, there isn't any entity. So what everything is apparently happening isn't somebody's effort, isn't some action, or isn't any experience. It's only appearance.
This one is from Kane. Hey, Kane. How are you? Can you talk about love and hate?
Love and hate. So that is almost like a sound like feeling of me has. So me feels that sensation of love and hate is happening to me, and I own that sensation or I own the feeling, and that is just a feeling or just a feeling me has. But even that feeling, any feeling can arise, but it doesn't belong to anybody and it doesn't mean anything. It's just a sensation. It's just a different, apparently different energy.
Thank you, Naho. This is from Johannes. What is resonating with this message and how? How, Naho?
So this is apparent, maybe resonating, because there isn't me, there isn't anybody hearing this. So ultimately nothing is happening, but apparently if something a wanting hearing is appearing, then that is what is happening. But that is what is happening. Because
Beautiful. Oh, sorry.
it's already complete. It won't change. Nothing will happen.
Beautiful. Thank you. This one is from BK. Bravo, Naho. Smiley face and a firework. This one is from Ranko. Why me looks so real?
So it's not looks, it's not idea. As soon as the separation appears, it becomes sense of self becomes reality, and that energetically feels I exist, and the more that energy generates on its own, and by feeling that lack, and then seemingly that reality becomes stronger and more become real. But that isn't happening. It's only impression to nobody.
Thank you so much, Naho. Yeah, Scott Tully goes, thank you. And then Ray asks, if someone is going through a depressed state, they are stuck in the story of me. So the non-dual talk is very difficult to get through. How can you help them get over the depressed state?
So on, see if that apparent how do you say depressed state is appearing, that's how it's appearing, can't be any other way. And also it's not wrong, it feels wrong and it feels shouldn't be happening, is only to me, that me isn't real either. So whatever is happening, even if it feels horrible, seemingly horrible thing, isn't bad. It's a perfectly freely appearing. That is freedom. So it can't be any other way. It can't be changed. It doesn't need to be.
Beautiful. This one is from Chris M. Experience, even the end of experience is illusion. Sorry, I'm just playing. So he expelled experience as expire and inrience. The expiration of experience. Maybe this is just thinking too much, or maybe it's just expression. Funny.
So it doesn't this even the sound doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't lead into anything. It's because it's already. Only me feels I haven't arrived. I haven't got yet. That's the only me feels, but that's not true.
Beautiful. Why me goes, okay, but how do you know all of that?
It doesn't know. It doesn't know. Nobody knows. This isn't come from that knowing. This is simply appearing and simply as it is. It's not suggestion. Even it's not suggestion. It's appearing.
Awesome. Zoe has a question. So please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Calling Zoe. Okay. When you are back, Zoe, ask a question. Zoe disappeared. Uh, Roy Wilkinson. Hi, Naho. Am I correct in thinking that for you, there is no place from which you, I didn't know where the continuation for that one. I'll come back to that question. It looks like it's incomplete. Pascal Nicholas goes, how do you deal with someone you love, but she is not? Because it is suffering a lot. Oh. So how do you deal with someone you love, but she does not love back? Because it's suffering.
But that's the great news is that it's the story. it's just a story. It doesn't belong to somebody. It doesn't belong to anybody. It's just story appearing apparently. Me feels it's my story. Then me feels it real. Then apparent suffering appears. But actually, that's apparent story appearing. And it's not happening.
Thank you now. So go ahead and unmute yourself. You can do that now. Sorry about that.
No worries. Hi, Neho. How are you?
Hiya!
So, Neho, my question is it is absolutely impossible to accept that I don't exist because if you were to say that Neho doesn't exist, I can possibly accept that. But with my direct experience, it's just impossible to accept that I don't exist because I'm experiencing every moment. So what do I actually do with the message? Because it's something that's beyond me. I actually want to accept that I don't exist. When you say that the me doesn't exist, but it's something, it's almost impossible to even comprehend what that means even.
So first of all, me though think that what's been suggested this was is I am hearing this, I comprehend, it has meaning. But then that is already I am hearing, I exist. So to me, whatever it hears, whatever it's suggested is it's really reality. What's been suggested here is nobody's listening. There isn't nobody, but doesn't it's not suggesting to somebody that there is nobody. there is nobody. So nobody is hearing, there is nobody. And that is me. It's a cycle that, or I have to get rid of me. There isn't anybody can get rid of because it doesn't exist. So this message is not telling somebody to do anything. There isn't anybody. It might be heard beyond the apparent me. And energetically that something resonate. Maybe.
So if the me doesn't exist, how come it comes into form? Because I know from knowing that I exist, and you're saying that's an illusion. But you also do agree that there is some sort of experience going on at my end. So
Um,
how is that happening?
because that is how can I say, apparent me tells that, and it's not happening anymore. But that apparent me telling that I exist, or I tells it's as a reality. But here it's not happening. So it's just a respond to what is happening here, and this isn't wrong. That is what is happening there. That is what is happening. That is happening belong to doesn't belong to anybody.
Mhm.
Um,
Right, right. No, I get it. I guess I get it intellectually, but with if I analyze my direct experience, it just seems like something like it is like the harder I try, the harder it becomes to, you become more aware actually. If I were to try to think that I'm not there, so it just gets into a cycle where it's hard to escape actually.
so it's like me wants to escape. That's the me energy, but then that creates energetically more like it becomes real. So
Mm-hmm.
that it's not suggesting anything. If that is
Mm-hmm.
happening, it's not wrong either. But
Mm-hmm.
this suggestion is not to, that it's not real. It's not
Mm-hmm.
real thing like me feels. It's me feels. It's a real like a real
Right.
reality.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So there's nothing that an individual can do to make it happen. If it were to happen, it'll happen by itself.
Yes, because that from there it feels like it need something need to happen, right?
Mm. Yes.
Yes, so that's the dream. Need to happen more is dream. Nothing need
Mm-hmm.
to happen. There isn't
Mm-hmm.
anything needed.
Mm-hmm. But isn't it just natural for an individual person uh, to run away from you know um, difficulty or run away from discomfort?
Yes,
It
yes,
just happens. Yeah.
yes. That's the constantly happening because as soon as me appears, me is uncomfortable being separate. So
Mm-hmm.
even me isn't really recognized. It's happening constantly. Me wants to away from that, but me can't
Mm-hmm.
because me is in the own reality, which is separate. What
Mm-hmm.
suggestion here isn't reality.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Neho.
Thank you.
And thank you, Emerson. Bye.
Thank you, Zoe. I'll get to you, William, but I have a couple more questions here. So hang on, dear William. Uh, Karen goes, "Why are so many me's having the same story? For example, lots of me's attending this apparent story, or this shared belief of me's experiencing the COVID pandemic."
That's because how it's appearing. That story is how it's appearing. There isn't any. Um, there isn't anything that can, how can I say, can be explained. It just what is happening. There is no reason. If that story is happening, that is happening. But that isn't reality.
Thank you. Avi goes, is it's already that it doesn't make sense. No one can find what is or cause it to happen. So it's a dream that I am.
So what is apparently happening is nothing being everything. That's seemingly appearing. It's not solid thing, and it doesn't have any meaning, but it's seemingly happening. But that me is like a dream. It's not happening. So seemingly happening and not happening, me doesn't exist. So whatever me feels or me is a story isn't happening as a reality. It's a story and it doesn't belong to anybody.
Beautiful. Thank you. Uh, Ben Williamson goes, hello, no things. And Avi Goldman goes, the apparent you can't parse itself as the doer of this, and it's already perfectly not understanding. William, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, Emerson and Naho. So my question, it seems to me, listening to this, and this is the first time I've listened to Naho, but I've listened to other people talking about this message. It seems to me that every answer that you give is effectively saying the same thing, even if the words are different. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, but actually this isn't the answer. Just the sound is appearing, and then what is only pointing to is nothing is more than this. Nothing to attain, nothing to know, nothing to understand. So if that's what you heard, then that's you're hearing.
Because even though I think to myself, I can ask you a question, or I can listen to what answers you give to other questions, and it's effectively saying the same thing, or at least that's how it seems to me. But there's still such a strong pull to ask a question to get an answer.
Yes, that is perfectly happening. So what's wrong with that? That's how it's happening. But me feels so it's something attached to that. What is happening is simply sound is appearing, but me feels I need more. I need to find something. That's the dream. What is happening is the sound is appearing.
And so even in this communication where there's a response coming, and you say it's not you speaking, but there's a response that comes to the question.
Yes.
I'm trying to find something in that.
Yes, sure. That just the response is appearing, but ultimately doesn't mean anything. It's just the sound is appearing, and this doesn't. It's not speaking to somebody.
And when you said there can be a resonance with this message, is that resonance what ultimately leads to the collapse of the illusion of the me?
Actually,
if it happens,
it's if that dream is still real, and apparently yes, but doesn't it? It's already that dream is only dream. It's not happening.
but it feels personal while it's happening. It feels like it's happening to someone. And another thing I wanted to ask is, when you were going to the meetings with Tony Parsons and assuming you felt like a real person, did you feel in the story that you were in a process of moving towards liberation?
I don't really remember, but me always think that it's going somewhere. It's getting somewhere. That's the dream, and it doesn't really make sense that anymore. That there isn't any Tony. It's There isn't nobody. Nobody's, how can I say, that's the story.
So it's a story to say that there's someone called Tony Parsons, someone called Naho went to see Tony Parsons, Naho died or whatever.
Exactly. But what is happening, this sound is nothing to do with that. It's the story. What is happening is independently, and there is no cause and just happening. And that is what's being longed for, what's longed for.
And that's beyond understanding, because if I asked, because if you talk about apparently seeing Tony Parsons, then I think to myself, for that memory to arise for Naho, then there has to be a connection to another real happening.
Yes. So what you're speaking is, it feels real and it feels reality. That dream, it feels reality, isn't happening. So, you know, the story, we can speak about anything. You know, Naho went to Tony, and then Naho had many experiences, and you know, we can speak about anything, but it's not happening.
That makes no sense. I hate that. Like, because I hate it because it makes no sense to say this isn't happening.
Because what is happening is this sound. And this sound doesn't belong to Naho, doesn't belong to anything. And then this sound doesn't, how can I say, it's everything. It's no entity. It's appearance from nothing. And this is freedom.
I definitely resonate with it, even though it sounds like
this sounds might be very crazy, but that's actually, it's so simple and obvious. And all there is. But me can't hear this. Me feels, no, there is more. Because me feels it takes personally. Me hear the words into my reality and interpret it and try to find the answer. But that whole movement is, it's, how can I say, happening in the dream already.
it's nice to talk to you. Thanks for responding, and thanks, Emma.
Thank you, William. We have a couple more questions here, and then we're going to go to Mary. But the first question that we have here, not the first question, but I lost. Mary asked, maybe I'll just ask Mary to ask that question. She asked here, do you believe in a brain produces consciousness? Go ahead, Mary, and mute yourself, because it's actually your question.
Hello. Can you hear me? I have multiple questions. The first one is, I've heard Tony talk about how when the apparent me collapses, it becomes whole again. I was wondering, since nothing is appearing as everything, is it possible for, the apparent me becoming whole and then becoming another form of me? Is that a cycle, or?
No, that is kind of misunderstanding is happening. So there isn't any becoming, because it's already complete. It's already whole. It can't change into something. It's already. So can't be attained, can't be changed. It won't change. It just as it is. So what's been suggested is me doesn't exist. So there isn't anything turned into something. So apparent collapse is only story. It's not going to happen because it doesn't exist. But from the me perspective, me exists. So that dream disappears. It just even that impression disappears. That's
Right. I'm just wondering, does nothing is nothing just trying to dream forever? I mean, I know there's no time, but I mean, like, is it just a constant tale of stories after stories?
Yes, yes, yes. Because the story isn't a problem. The story is simply life is appearing and nothing appearing as a story apparently. But that me apparent me energy, it feels it's my story. And that as soon as me attached to it becomes a reality. So it feels next story. But when me say that, it's not only story, it feels a real reality. So me feels it's coming to me. That's why it's not comfortable.
Right. Okay.
But it's not belonging to somebody. It's just appearance.
Okay. Do you believe that consciousness creates the brain, or is it the brain that creates the consciousness?
So nothing creates nothing.
But I mean, in the apparent dream, I'm talking about.
Apparent dream. So whatever that dream appears, that's how it's appearing. But that dream, it's not created. There is no cause and effect. There is no cause and effect. In only that dream, that story appear as cause and effect, as that story. It doesn't mean there is a cause and effect. So whatever that how life appears, that's it.
Okay. All right. That's it.
Thank you so much, Very. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I skipped a question here from Michael Parker Sutton. And he asked, when you speak of the dream, does it not suggest there is a dreamer?
Sorry,
No problem. When you speak of the dream, does it not suggest that there is a dreamer?
Yes, dream and the dream. Actually, there isn't any dreamer. There is only dream, but that dream itself is energetic, so it feels it's real. There isn't any dreamer. An energetic dream itself is me is energetic dream itself. So me is a dream.
Beautiful. Thank you. This one is from Voice Tech. Guru says brain doesn't create consciousness. I think she doesn't believe she doesn't exist. Okay, that was just a comment. This one is from Katya. If all of your personal world would crash down, how would you cope with it? Is it enough to say that the things are going the way they must go?
That personal story can be anything, can be happy story, horrible story, and it's not equal. Story isn't equal. Story isn't how can I say? It's not only nice story, but that is a story. It's not happening to somebody, and it's not even happening. So, and also that doesn't need to be changed. It just only need to be changed because that dream feels reality.
Brilliant. Thank you. This one is from Choose. Energy is also a dream. Resonance is also a dream. Energetic dream is also a dream. Energy does not exist, right? Thank you.
So whatever that's being said isn't me. It doesn't mean anything. So how can I say that? I forgot what you said. Sorry.
I'll repeat. Energy is also a dream. Resonance is also a dream. Energetic is also a dream.
Yes.
Energy does not exist, right?
Yes. So everything is how can I say a story. It's not happening. That this sound is a sound. Ultimately doesn't mean anything. But this sound is what's being longed for. It's everything, but it's not suggesting to something, or it's not, how can I say? So even that question, when you get the answer, it doesn't go anywhere because simply sound is appearing. And then it doesn't need to go anywhere. It's already.
Beautiful. Thank you. Ben, go ahead, please, and unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Ben.
Hello, how are you? So I don't necessarily, it's not necessarily a pointed question here. I would just like to, I apologize for the cat in the background. He just does what he needs to do. So I wanted to kind of share kind of how this apparent experience has shifted from this perspective that you know, I'm experiencing things through, and just kind of get your thoughts on it. And you know, I guess I thought sharing would be helpful for others as well. So recent,
Shift. So your question is a parent shift.
yeah. So you know, recently there was something that occurred where I realized I'm dreaming, and now, oh, please stop. So I now the dream is that very rapidly at times, I simply recall that I'm dreaming. And it's there's no problem here. Everything is as it should be. I just was, I guess, wondering your take on that I realize I'm still dreaming. I can't escape the dream. And there's no need to escape the dream. And every now and then I fall back asleep, and then there is the experience of realizing I'm dreaming. Not I, there's no center to it, but realizing that this is a dream. I can't see the dreamer because I am of the dream. So what are your thoughts on that? Because it's not like a connected stream of where I constantly remember I'm in the dream. It's things will occur, and then, oh yes, I'm dreaming, and there's no center to this. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. The reason why that question appears, because it feels something is stuck in a loop, because what is noticing, what's recognizing is me. So me is constantly recognizing I am dreaming, or what is happening is dreaming itself. That is uncomfortable. So me is constantly noticing something that isn't comfortable.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's it's definitely not uncomfortable from this perspective. There's nothing uncomfortable, just realization.
Yes. So uncomfortable means that even me doesn't notice it. Me doesn't feel it's enough. Me doesn't feel there is something more. That implies isn't enough. So me is always looking for something else. That's the thing that's being said, and so whole thing that apparent shift is a whole thing collapses. That, you know, even it's not something recognizing or something noticing or some realization. It's all dream. Everything is collapses, and nothing left other than what is.
I think Ben disappeared. Thank you, Ben.
I'm just trying to, I apologize. I'm just trying to internalize that because there's definitely, I definitely would not describe any kind of uncomfortableness from this perspective. It's actually joyous. It's actually a joyous realization that, oh yes, none of this is personal. None of this is happening to me. This is just a dream. This is just what is. I came into this place, wherever this is, already whole. There's nothing missing. There's nothing for me to seek outward. I don't even think I could exist if I weren't already whole. How would that even work? Existing as part of something. So I'm just trying to internalize what you're saying, because I'm not experiencing any kind of uncomfortableness. It's an
Yes, so it doesn't mean that this, what I said, uncomfortableness, it doesn't mean, it might not be felt, but then that self, apparent self, is in own dream, own loop, which is like how can I say? It's in a bubble. It's in the loop, and it's not how can I say? It's bounded.
So it's not completely fallen away. It's well, there's nothing to fall away though. I've made this entity up in I've made this thing up, gave it a reality, and then said that's me over there, right? And I mean, obviously not the case.
So that apparent loop, apparent in the own bubble, isn't really reality. But until apparently it's it's, if that is happening, that is happening. It's nothing wrong with that. It just me feels it's real. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben. I have a couple more questions here. This one is from Pascal. How to step out of making stories like once and for all?
So nothing can step out, because something wants to step out is dream, which isn't happening.
This one is from Martha. Free fall can apparently happen looking deep in these loving eyes. Thanks. Aww.
So was it?
What? Sorry, go ahead now.
There was a question?
There's one here from Earl Gibbs. Isn't the illusion of a beginning and end just a false belief in the conditioned concept of time?
Yes, but then that isn't time. Also, me feels it's real time. As soon as me appears, something separate appears, time starts. So isn't really idea. I mean, it feels time exists. Me is time.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I appreciate your conversations and your sharing. And I've been following you a little bit, and I understand entirely what you say. The only thing that from the questions that arise, and also I like you to point yourself towards this these directions, that in order for you or me, or being or me or you, in order for non-existing, so to speak, you had to have a reference point of an absolute that has nothing to do with gravity, time, space, thoughts, emotions, body. So that absolute, it seems not to be mentioned, it seems not to be directed towards, because how can you tell yourself once you see in the mirror the physical form that you do not exist? It's impossible. Intellectually, you can do that. But if you want to disappear, you have to be immersed in the absolute. When the mind and the body is immersed in the absolute, has no reasons to think, has melted into, and the body feels the emotions, but doesn't follow the emotions. Everything is reset into this eternal essence. The empty fullness, the nothingness is the absolute. But if people don't understand that the absolute is an actual true reality, they will go with the mind to figure it out. How can I delete the me? How can I stop thinking? How can I stop having emotions? How do I really access the love that has nothing to do with the me?
Nothing to do with me, yes. So what was the question?
It was a pointer.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have any questions. I know I know that it's very important to declare, I know you are not teaching, you are just sharing. And I know that it has nothing to do with your philosophical systems, or it's a personal, direct experience of being. But people don't understand that. People don't know that. They ask you questions. How can I stop thinking?
But
So
so what's wrong with that?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. You can keep on thinking another 10 lives. But if the purpose of you to know oneself, the absolute that you are, if that is a question to you, well, you have to be on the right direction.
So there isn't any purpose. There isn't anybody's hearing this.
I understand you are not there. I understand that.
So whatever it's appearing, that's how apparently life is appearing. It's perfect. And can't be any other way. If that's not understanding, it's appearing, and misunderstanding is appearing. That's how it's appearing. And nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm not saying it's nothing wrong. But I think people try to grasp out of that. And
Yes.
And you are there because you sense, there's a sensing that maybe you confess it or not, you're sensing that people wants to know that. That's why you're there. Otherwise, why would you be there? Or why would I be there?
That's how me think.
Yeah.
The reason why I am here.
And you don't, and okay.
That's me have a question that always why, and me believes, me feels I exist, I am here because of this or not. That is a dream.
I perfectly understand. I agree with you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. But I think we're out of the hour. This was only supposed to go for an hour. No worries. No worries. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, we have tons of questions here. The good news is that now this is a monthly thing, and Naho will be here next month. And Naho, thank you so much.
Oh,
thank you so much for everyone that asked the questions. Go ahead, Naho.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Naho.
Thank you.
Everybody can say bye. Unmute yourself and say bye now.
Wow.
Thanks,
Bye,
Naho.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You are beautiful.
Alsjeblieft.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye now.
Bye.
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 Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Bye.